Come on and look.
Okay.
Hello everyone, thank you for being here today. Today I'm going to discuss why zoos should be banned. Animals within zoos are often thought of as saved, treated properly, or maybe even rescued, but what is really happening here is that zoos are taking away an animal's freedom and quality of living. Today I will discuss three main reasons why zoos should be banned. First, we will start with why animals are imprisoned. Animals are confined to small spaces where they're unable to roam, hunt, and live freely. Zoos often tell you that animals are rescued and they're put in here in sanctuaries, but animals are unable to socialize with others, they're unable to create a bond with others, and they're unable to go and hunt for their food, which they should be able to do. Animals can no longer hunt, roam, or act as normal animals. Here we have a lion. He's put his head in here because he's scared of the people outside of there. Here we have a tiger pacing back and forth, which you have probably seen before. And we also have a gorilla. This is often known as zoochosis, which is taken from Freedom for Animals, a website where I had done some research. And it says that many animals held in captivity begin to form abnormal symptoms referred to as zoochosis. Another problem is that zoos will never be able to create the wild for animals. Animals were not intended to live in cages, and let me share just two examples with you. According to Freedom for Animals, as soon as an animal is put into captivity, they lose over 18,000 times the space they once had within the wilderness, especially animals such as elephants, tigers, and lions. Another example is polar bears. They lose over 1 million times the space that they once had. And I know that when I went to the zoo recently, there was a polar bear in Colorado at the zoo that, first of all, the animals should not be here in Colorado. They should be in the climate that they need to be. This polar bear was extremely hot. He had little water. He had he had no people looking at him. Anyways, let's keep going. Freedom for Animals also provides evidence of a government zoo inspection in 2010 showing that animals were too crowded, had little to no food. Their portions of food were extremely small, and animals have untreated skin wounds from sitting too long. Here I have a tiger sitting, and she's unable to roam. You can obviously see within this photo that she is between multiple bars, and she doesn't even have a sanctuary that she should have. Here is a lion that was uncared for, and his symptoms turned so bad that they're going to eventually have to amputate his leg. And zookeepers say that they put animals in here to save them and treat them, and these are examples of what is really happening within zoos. Here's a polar bear in a climate where he or she should not be. She should be where she was meant to be, in the wild. Animals are used for entertainment. PETA found evidence stating that over the course of 5 summers, a curator at the National Zoo followed more than 700 zoo visitors, and it didn't matter what was on display. People treated the exhibits like wallpaper. And although animals are interesting to look at, and zoos do have little to no signs and videos posted, no matter what, once a person goes through the zoo, they're not going to even retain that information that they just learned. They're there to look at the animal, they're there to see what it's doing, and animals do not like that attention. They don't like to be watched, they don't like to be given that attention. They want to be out in the wild where they're meant to be, hunting and roaming freely. Another thing is that animals are abused within the zoos, and although this is an example of a circus, it pertains to a zoo as well, because animals are poked and prodded with goads, electric goads, and they are trained that way. So whenever an animal is not doing the trick or acting incorrectly, they are hit with goads, which I have here and here. The last and most important piece of this is that zoos are giving false information to the public. What zoos claim to do is that they are saving animals from poaching, exotic hunters, or endangerment. Zoos use their money for animal research, and large sanctuaries are medicine for animals, or maybe even zoos protect species from extinction. Well, the numbers behind it have found through some research that 18% of animals within zoos are threatened or endangered, whereas the rest are normal land animals. Out of 4,000 animals, only 691 have status of being endangered. Zoos are not using their money the right way. When you go to the zoo, you are just enabling them to keep bringing zoos in and taking animals out of the wild. And a study done in 2011 confirmed that 5% of a zoo's wages to go to a conservation and treatment, the number could be even smaller. More than half of the zoos throughout the United States spend less than 1% of their income on conservation. So what is really happening is that zoos are just taking your money for no reason, and you are just enabling them to keep taking animals from the wild. And although zoos do have some positives, there are more negatives than positives. And another fact I would like to share with you is that it has to go back on education and entertainment. And a fact that I read, which is in my citations, if animals are not looked at, they are either taken and killed, or they're taken out of the zoo and dropped in the wild. And I think that that is extremely inhumane, because animals, although there are animals that are sick in the wild and they do need that health care, they need to be put back in their native area where they were meant to grow. Being behind bars is not where animals deserve to be. Thank you all.